Hello, I'm Rob O Donoghue from the Environmental Learning Research Centre at Rhodes University. And in this brief presentation, I'm going to look at RCE collaboration, something that we're learning to do as we have been living with COVID and interacting more widely. So in this case, looking at the RCE Makana, where we have Previn Chetty, Gauteng, where Sol Shava from UNISA is, and KwaZulu-Natal, where Jim Taylor is, we started working with heritage knowledge in an informal ESD partnership. And the inspiration for this was the Forgotten Worlds work, which has mostly been produced for tourism and is not getting into the curriculum yet. And what this illustrates, particularly around Jim Taylor's Orange Senku project, is the Bokoni. We're an agroecological society, like all the agroecological societies and cultures in East and Southern Africa. They were sedentary cultures. They weren't nomadic cultures as the colonial histories represent them. So there's a lot to be learned from this opening up of insights into the deeper and earlier histories in the Africa and Southern African settings. So the question became, how do we include Indigenous knowledge heritage in our ESD work with Fundisa for Change, a project that moves across the country, and the UNESCO SST in the region as RCEs. Now, working with a T-learning approach and research that has been developed by the ELRC under the leadership of Hela Lotsa-Sitka, what we did is we worked with this approach using the SDGs and the idea of past living heritage for climate change education. And here, Shaunumisa with her VVOB project was an important Fundisa for Change initiative. Well, all the work is linked to the handprint care from the Centre for Environmental Education in Ahmedabad, India, where with the support of Engagement Global, we were involved in a collaboration across Mexico, Germany, India, and South Africa. And it became useful to begin to think about African knowledge, and heritage food gardens came up, inspired by the work that I did with Tich Pesanai, and now also with Wilma van Staden. So what we're trying to do here is to look at composting, rain capture, gardening for greens, and also planting trees as topics that can be curriculum-based and taught in an ESD way. Then we also have the heritage foods and health work that's being done by Janet Snow with teachers around Treverton. And then also this work has been widely done by people around the country, including Ken Khoza and Baba Safo in the early days, and the work on cholera with hand washing. Then on to heritage and water, where Ayanda and Jim are leading the way on the Orange Senku, looking at clean water, sweet water, good water, and the seasonal floods that naturally polluted in earlier times. And finally, the SDGs and biodiversity work that I'm doing with my grandchildren, inspired by the earlier work on gardening, health and water, particularly with Mba Manqele, also my colleague Sibongile Masugu. And the indigenous scholars in Southern Africa have a good history of being able to recover this knowledge and bring it to the fore, so that the forgotten worlds are likely to become a process of remembering a forgotten past. But by recalling that past, we're able to understand the present, and we're able to reimagine the future that is more just and sustainable. And here I'm drawing on the work of Kensuke Sensei and his colleagues in Japan, and also being inspired by the work of Gcina and Hlophe, where she talks about the idea of touching the past with our memories to feel the future flying on the wings of our imagination. As we work in ESD around heritage, around the present, and towards doing things in better ways that have less impact on the planet and are more just. And I think that's one of the key things about our RCE work together.